Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC and with me are
Rush.
And Wolf.
and somebody wants to. There we go. We got that reference out of the way. Thank you. Whatever the name is, I actually forgot. Smash Mouth. That's their name. Anyway, we got this out of the way because as the title
Such an
screen.
important thing to get out of the way, we couldn't even bother to remember the name of the band.
Who does remember their name? You know the name of the song, not the band
Dude,
itself.
come on. That's like the best meme ever, right?
Yeah, but again, you remember the name of the song, not necessarily
No,
the
I
band
know the
itself.
name of the band because I know a bunch of their other songs, though.
Mhm.
Mostly because I like their music. I do like their music. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, memes aside, it is a very good song. So, but we'll get to this later because if you couldn't tell by the title, an episode 5 years in the making, we're finally doing the Ogrecast, which is a Shrek podcast. And the reason we are doing this is because I'm not sure if you looked at the calendar, Shrek is turning 20 this year. Who else feels old? Raise your hands. I'm raising my hand.
I mean, I'm the youngest one here, and I still feel old.
I don't know what y'all are talking. I
Wolf.
feel young. I'm spry. I'm as spry as a young 50-year-old.
Wolf feels old all the time.
How's that old ladder injury treating you?
Pretty good.
Well, anyway, Shrek. It's been around for 20 years. Has become a phenomenon, a meme. Basically, everything else that you can think of. There are 4 movies, 5 if you count the Puss in Boots spin-off. There's also a Puss in Boots show. There are 2, maybe 3 short films. There are plenty of video games. So let's talk about Shrek. How were we exposed to the ogre? Rush, you want to be the first one to lead this? I mean, you are the youngest one.
Yeah, sure. I think my experience with Shrek is probably, I don't think we saw it in theaters. I think it was DVD. But, back when I was a kid and probably most of our one viewer and you guys were kids, the whole family thing was right to get the kids to stop playing. You put on the newfangled animated movies, right? 3D animation, not just 2D animation. I mean, we had all the classic, not DreamWorks movies
Disney
on
Renaissance and
VH.
stuff.
Yeah, VHS. Yes, I am at least old enough to know that.
Yeah.
I think we actually had Shrek on VHS. I need to ask my parents because they still have all
It
of them.
makes sense because one of my friends had it on VHS. It makes
But we
sense.
also have it on DVD because once they stopped making it, we just converted it to DVD and got all the DVDs of the movies that we
Okay.
could. But yeah, I think it was through DVDs, not in theater.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you basically just this was just the next movie to watch when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wolf, what is your retrospective on Shrek?
Watched it with family. More or less kind of the same thing as Rush. Just picked it up on DVD or saw it on television and just kind of watch it with family. And I've seen it quite a bit. Mom loves the film. Little brother used to like the film a lot, then grew out of it, I suppose. But Mom still loves it.
Mm-hmm.
She just
Well,
does. So I've seen it
I
quite a
guess
lot.
I guess I have the most interesting history because I remember when this was in theaters.
Interesting.
All of my movie,
Shrek.
all of my movies, all of my friends were like, this is such an awesome movie. This is such a good movie. Like, we just saw Shrek. It's hilarious, and I just saw the poster, and I'm like, I'm not convinced. Like, I was that hipster who was like, I don't think I'm going to like this. Don't ask me why kid me had these moments of being dumb, I suppose. And I skipped on it in theaters for the longest time. I was like, I am not gonna watch Shrek. It doesn't look good. I don't know why I thought that, but I didn't think it was going to be good. Then one day, one of my friends had the VHS. He told me, you gotta give it a shot. I gave it a shot. And you know what? it's not as good as a lot of people make it out to be.
And that's all we have for the Berkcast today, as the angry chants of many
Well,
memers.
jokes on you. We are doing the Ogrecast, not the Berkcast. So yeah.
You don't make the Ogrecast just to insult Shrek.
Okay. For the record, Shrek 1 is. I guess we are jumping into the kind of our views on the stuff regarding the franchise. Shrek 1 is not a bad movie by any means. It's good. It's funny. But the masterpiece pop cultural phenomenon that it became, I've seen better. I've seen better
I
in
think
this franchise too.
HC, you're overlooking the fact that people are literally doing it for memes pop culture, not for
Yeah,
it's more of a meme following, which it doesn't have to be good to be a meme following.
Of course, but what I mean is that when you see stuff like Shrek is love, Shrek is life, this is not just a meme
Oh god, he
thing.
said it.
Yes, yeah. Well, we're talking about memes, Rush. What do you expect? It was bound to be mentioned at some point. What I'm saying though, when you see me, when the memes are about how much people love these movies, and when the memes come to when you see a list of top animated movies, and they're like Shrek is not number one. This list doesn't have any legitimacy to it.
These are the
I'll-
same people that say Cory in the House is my favorite anime.
Yeah, but this is just making fun of it because that's not even anime. Like this is a movie that people legit love, and I still
Not an
see
anime,
that.
he says.
Yeah, Cory in the House is
Pshaw.
not an anime.
I don't know why I came back on
Pshaw.
the Berkcast if you're gonna insult me like that.
Apparently, saying Cory in the House is not an anime insults Rush directly.
It is the greatest anime in the world. It's clearly there. Everyone agrees. Internet wouldn't lie.
Wink, wink. Okay, but going back to the first Shrek, I don't know. It's just there's some again. It's funny. I like the message that it's trying to get across. I like the jokes. I like the idea. But when you strip away the parody, when you strip away some of the jokes, when you strip away the message, which is really well done, you get a movie that's honestly not that much different than other stuff that was around at the time. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'm just too harsh on it, but when you get the scene of Fiona saying that she's a monster, and then Shrek hears her and he thinks she's talking about him, and they're gonna fight, and then they're gonna cry that they will never see each other again. And then they realize they are idiots, and Shrek is gonna come in and find out the truth, and then the villain is gonna die. It's like,
Spoiler
okay,
alert.
Rush, this movie is 20 years old. Everyone, if you're listening to this, you saw this movie. I think everyone and their grandmother saw this movie by this point. Nobody cares about spoilers.
Actually, there would be people born right now that have not seen
Haven't
this
seen it,
movie.
yeah.
And they're gonna go on the internet and listen to a
Yes.
podcast by three random dudes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daddy, is Shrek
Oh,
worth
God,
my
no.
time? I don't know, son. Let's go find a video on the internet.
They're not going
No,
to go to.
hold on a minute. This world is not real at all because you just basically created an adult who wouldn't know what Shrek is. I don't believe this world for a second.
Exactly. One, this. Two, they would go to this random podcast on YouTube and not.
No, that part's
Wikipedia
true.
would-
That part is absolutely fair. It's just the adult not knowing what Shrek is. That part I can't buy. That's what
Yeah.
throws this out of realism.
They do know what Shrek is, but they haven't seen it.
Still don't buy it. You had me until that.
You see, you even convinced Wolf to support me for a
Fine,
bit.
how about
You-
this?
No, I don't
Daddy,
support you.
can we watch Shrek? I don't know. Sure, son, but let's get a review of it first. I can't remember how it went. I
There you
watched it when
go.
I was your age.
Now I agree with you.
There we go. Now you okay. But HC,
Okay.
I just want to say to your
Yeah.
counterpoint, you I understand what you mean, but when you said it's like when you strip away the message and you strip away the parody, it's like you're literally taking away the whole movie. Like you can say that about a lot of movies and say, "Oh
That
wow, if
is
you
true.
take away everything about this movie, it's like this one." I made a pointing motion, but obviously we're not sharing video and nobody will see that. But that's my point.
I
Yeah,
think
okay.
I think that's a
Fair
bit
point.
too much of a generic
Fair
argument.
point. Fair point. But again, I bring up the when again. Keep in mind, I'm talking about when this was new, when this just came out 20 years ago, and people talked. And I remember there was all this talk about how revolutionary this movie was and how it changed the game. And to an extent, it did change the game. A lot of movies tried to copy Shrek for a while, and then you kind of go back and you're like, this didn't really do anything new outside of adding that edge to it and that older quote unquote sense of
I
humor.
I don't feel that's what people mean when they say it changed the game. When people say that, I think what they more so mean is that this is the movie that set DreamWorks on the map for a while. Before this,
That's also
DreamWorks
true.
was very small. They weren't really competing with Disney. This is the movie that gave DreamWorks the ability to compete with Disney. It's
That is
unfortunate,
very
though,
much true.
because, people then basically said, oh, DreamWorks, the people who made Shrek, they're the funny people, right? They're the ones that only make funny movies, and that's what their movies had to be and incorporate for a long time.
Yeah, and then there was also that awkward phase where they kind of tried to copy themselves looking at Shark Tale.
Let's just not mention Shark Tale, please.
This is the Ogrecast, not the
Yeah, well, we can mention other
bad
movies, we're
cast.
just not reviewing them at the moment.
Yeah.
No, let's just Shark Tale didn't. I don't. That's not a film that exists. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what?
No one
I
decided
was
to
so
make Will Smith fish and make him look horrifying.
But
It's not
yeah,
a
so
thing of
Ogrecast.
nightmares.
Anyway, HC has been moved to another channel. Let's see how long it takes him to figure out. But so he's on mobile too, so it might take longer. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Wolf, on that. Like, it did send, unfortunately, it put them on the map, which is good because, like, they obviously gave us How to Train Your Dragon, but I think at that point they had been too solidified as the funny movies, which if like the people who saw, How to Train Your Dragon, like us, obviously loved it, and we're like, oh, this was a serious, like, it still had its jokes, but they weren't all. I mean, they probably had one joke that could have been in Shrek by like I guess the potty humor style. There he is.
I
But
was talking positive about Shrek. Why did I
wow,
deserve to be
the
moved?
timing. Anyway, so HC, I guess just to catch you up, I was basically saying like I was agreeing with Wolf how it put DreamWorks on the map for for the humor point, and then it kind of may have hampered How to Train Your Dragon's popularity in a sense, where people see the reviews, it's like, oh, this isn't as funny as Shrek or any other DreamWorks movies, and so then the people are like, well, it's not like their normal ones, but
I
it's
would
not
say
like their normal ones in a good way.
I would say it ever so slightly hurt them in the opposite direction of people went into How to Train Your Dragon figuring, oh, it's DreamWorks, oh, it'll be funny, and they got something way more serious than what they were expecting to get.
Yeah.
Kid lost a leg.
Yeah, that kid lost a leg, exactly.
Like, legit, that was my mom's reaction, right? Like, I showed her How to Train Your Dragon. She's like, this isn't as funny as Shrek. Like, yeah, it's kind of the point. She's like, I like Shrek more. I'm like,
this is kind of, but at the same time, this is also kind of, Shrek gave people the wrong idea of DreamWorks, because I think when DreamWorks are good, when they are making good movies, because sadly they don't have the best track record with a lot of things, but I think Shrek more shows them that you can take an idea that nobody knows if it's even gonna work. Like, again, I was skeptical.
Prince of Egypt.
But they
Prince
can
of
make
Egypt
it
is
work.
DreamWorks. Prince of Egypt is like, if you want an example of what DreamWorks is from that far back, Prince of Egypt. That's an idea that
definitely
really should not have worked on paper, but they made it work. And that's kind of DreamWorks' MO. Like, hey, we're going to take this. That's not That's how, why? This is why people say you fail. We made it work. I'm like, oh, okay, good for you.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
what DreamWorks is. That's what they do
Also, like
somehow.
imagine the the How to Train Your Dragon, because it's like converting it from book to screen. It's like, all right,
Mm.
let's see. Well,
Actually,
let's make this a movie, right? Well, okay. Toothless is now a giant black dragon. Okay, and Hiccup will lose a leg. Wait, what? I'm sorry.
yeah, that's actually something that I only found out like when Shrek 4 was making the rounds. Shrek is actually based on a kid's book. Have any of you heard about it?
Nope. I know it exists, but
I
I've
believe it was
never
a
read it.
French. Yeah, it was a French book. So there's no way that I'm reading that, right? Because it's French. I don't speak French. I don't read French.
Well, you know it was translated to other languages, right?
Yeah, well after I found out that it was in French. French is
Okay.
mean. I'm just kidding.
So, okay, I guess we can point this out. We have no experience with the book Shrek. All I know is that Fiona is an ogre from the start. That's the main difference I am aware of.
So Shrek is a prequel to the books. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, totally. Even though Shrek and Fiona marry in the same boat canons.
But hey, that's just a theory.
No.
A film and book
God.
theory.
Oh. I actually did MacPod do a theory about Shrek?
He's probably done one on film theory.
I'll have to check afterwards. Okay, but back to the movie itself. What I did say before Rush rudely booted me out of the channel, and I had to come back, is that it's saying what you want about me thinking the movie is overrated in some places. Taking a company and basically launching it to the point it is the primary competition of Disney, and was for a while, I guess, until Illumination came out. It is impressive. It is very impressive, and this movie is important. I just have some gripes with it, which are personal. They're not making this a bad movie by any means.
I mean, let's be honest. Illumination probably only exists because of Shrek, right? Like,
Basically,
in a way, right?
Oh,
Like,
God, that's going to be a weird Mandela butterfly effect there.
I mean,
no, I get what Wolf means though, because
like from the
does a lot of
funny
shit.
animation company, right? Like the funny animation company. Like that's what Illumination was founded for and really became, because DreamWorks doesn't really fill that role for people anymore. But yet that's what a lot of people want. That's what my mom wants. That's what she sees in animation. She sees it as something to have a laugh at and have fun at. She isn't really into, when she does watch animation, she's not really into it to watch something like How to Train Your Dragon that is more serious and a little bit darker and has, a more serious story to it, or something like Soul, right? The recent Pixar film. Like, she's not going to get, like, she would enjoy those films, don't get me wrong. She would love those films and enjoy them, but it's not really what she's looking for. She's not really looking to watch an animation film and potentially break down crying. She wants to be able to just laugh at it and have fun. So Illumination now fills that void.
You actually, you got a good point there. Actually, one time when we were on a family road trip, our old Sequoia had that's a car brand. I don't know if they have those where you are, AC, but it had like the DVD players in the back of the headset, or the whatever they're called.
Yes.
And so, like, we were picking, it was just me and my brother and my parents this time. My sister, I think she was already out of the house and something like that, but we were picking up like videos to watch, like DVDs to watch. And sometimes it could be played through the radio, through like a unused station, so my parents would listen too. And so I picked How to Train Dragon because this was probably right at the height of my fanboyism of it. And they're like, oh, well, that's not a funny movie. Why wouldn't you choose something else? I'm like, well, because I want to watch it. Like, but it's like, if we're listening to it, it has to be a funny movie. I'm like, you serious? So it's like, some people purely just want animation for funny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
by
what
the
a lot of
way,
people see
I
it
like
as.
how we kind of point out How to Train a Dragon as a not funny movie. Like it does have funny moments.
It's
but
dead serious.
No one laughs. No one laughs in How to Train Your Dragon. There is no joke there. Garber's not a comedic character. He's a
Yep.
tragedy.
Toothless is not a
You
goofball in
lost 2
some
limbs.
scenes.
That is
Nope.
just so sad.
Mm.
My voice is cracking, tearing up at it.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear
But I mean,
Hiccup's
you
voice,
know,
you know he means business.
there is a
There's nothing
distinct
but-
difference though between like, oh, it
Yeah,
has a
yeah,
little
I
bit of
know.
comedy here or there. And honestly, I would say like the bits of comedy that are in things like How to Train Your Dragon or other films like that, or have those, you know, those comedic characters like Olaf and Elsa, they only exist because of the people who go like, hey, I'm looking for the jokes. I'm not here for the seriousness. I'm not here to cry. I'm not here to be sad. I'm only here to watch and be happy. Like
Classic
those.
Disney overdoes it, and now like 90% of the population hates Olaf.
Mm. But yeah, I mean,
By the
you know,
way,
those.
I love how Wolf just said Olaf in Elsa. Elsa is the name of the franchise now, not Frozen. It's Elsa.
I
He said
mean,
and, not
Good
in.
job, Wolf.
am I wrong though? Am I wrong?
Not
though?
entirely, but still.
She's so popular, she got her face put on a dragon, okay?
Yeah,
I said it.
Different topic for another day, but yeah.
I actually want to say, how about this? You know, you're right, Wolf, that it is. So Shrek caused minions. There you go. You said it. You said it when it spiraled down to it caused elimination. That's the reason why we have all the annoying characters, because you know, movie marketing is probably about 5 years behind, where they think, oh, they'll still love this, and then it's like, you know, sure, the kids love it, which I guess that is most of the
Minions did make
some of the
over
point for that.
$1 billion.
That's because all
Which
the
is
kids are
sad.
dragging their parents to it. But it's like, well, I need to see the new demographics, but kids still aren't the majority population.
No, but I mean, you know, kids are generally the target demographic, right? But you also, like, again, that's why you have characters like Mushu or stuff like that. Like, no one really likes Mushu, but older
Mushu.
parents do kind of like Mushu more than some people do, right? Mushu's but you know, again, right? Like the joke characters have always been there, but I think Shrek kind of upped the comedy game, I guess you would say. Like, you know, it changed the animation is more so for kids. Like Shrek is Shrek kind of sits into that, you know, very kind of middling spot of this isn't quite for kids, but this isn't quite for adults either. It's somewhere in between because of some of its humor and stuff like that.
I think I think what made it actually unique for the time that a lot of people still kind of do, and it kind of did make a trend, not necessarily just for DreamWorks, but you know, like Wolf Study Illumination, and even Disney kind of did this for a bit. Is that they did try and make it like a live action movie in a sense that like you'll get pop culture music, you'll get pop cultural references. There is that kind of reference humor, I guess, that you see it and you say, I know this. Like when there's the scene with the Miro introducing Farquaad to the princesses, you're like, oh, I know Cinderella. Oh, I know whatever that other princess was in that montage.
It was Snow White.
Yeah, Snow White. And like you see the three pigs, and you're like, I know these pigs. You see, you know, what was it? The Muffin Man. People know the Muffin Man, so it's kind of funny that it's people are fun. People are laughing that it comes out in an interrogation scene. There is that reference humor that a lot of other movies do because you recognize it, and that. So there is kind of a formula that this movie did create. I'm not saying there isn't, and it is kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Admirable that one movie kind of changed the game for a lot of studios, even Disney.
I don't know if it inherently changed the game. I think it just kind of said, again, it took something that's always kind of been there, but been a bit more background, a bit more, not as much, I guess you'd say. Like, you know, again, you know, you look at past Disney films before Shrek, right? They had some of their comedic characters, but they were never, you know, the focus, right? They were never like the film. Shrek said, hey, you can do that and it be the film and it work and be popular.
And I don't think it's just the comedy, but also that the comedy is a bit more adult than what you remember from Disney
Mhm.
and stuff. Like, there's the scene
It
where
was
Fiona sings to the
risque, right?
like, yeah, like Fiona sings to the bird, and then the bird explodes, and they don't raise the eggs, they cook them for breakfast. That's kind of morbid when you think about it, and it's great.
Yeah, and you saw
I'm
like
not saying
the
it against the
princess
movie.
of all people being the one to do that as well. Again, like it was
And like the
risque. It did the thing
princess,
that that no
yeah,
Disney film would ever do something like that.
and
Hand over mouth.
also,
You
and
know,
the movie also kind of starts with Shrek literally wiping his ass with the notion of true love, like what people are used to from Disney and all those classic fairy tales.
I mean, again,
So
right? Like, do
again,
remember Shrek was quite literally DreamWorks just and Jeffrey Katzenberg specifically just giving Disney the middle finger.
yeah, which honestly, works both for the film's advantage and disadvantage.
Yeah.
Like it goes both ways.
Yeah. But I mean,
I mean,
again, like,
it's probably the best one, like middle finger, like to this day they've given because they're using all the characters that Disney basically stole from fairy tales, and Disney can't like say these are our characters.
no.
So it's
Yeah.
like, hey Disney, fuck you
If
and your use of
you,
public domain.
No,
yeah.
actually, my favorite jab on them though is that apparently Farquaad does look like Michael Eisner, the guy who took over Disney Animation from Jeffrey Katzenberg, and
Mhm.
the reason he's called Farquaad is because that's his name of calling him fuckwad and getting away with it. The joke about
The
him
plot
being
thickens.
short. I'm not making this up. That is the legit reason
Oh
behind
no,
his
it
name.
is. Yeah, I know. But again, like that's Shrek in a nutshell, and it, it again, like I don't know if it outright changed the game, but it definitely I feel opened the game up. Like it said, here's all the
Now
things.
this is pod racing.
Mm, here's all the things, right? That you know that everyone would have told you way back in the day. Like, there's no way this film will succeed. There's no way. Like, and again, you heard this. Like, Shrek was told, when it was being talked about, like, yeah, don't think this film's going to succeed. This film's way too risky. No one's going to want to take their kids to see a film that does some of the stuff this film does. And looking back, it's like this film is very minor in any of the things it does. We've had other stuff come out before and after this was way worse in terms of like some of the humor it would approach on. But again, like Shrek did kind of open that door of, hey, you can be a little bit darker with your animation. Like it's the thing that opened the door, but I don't think it, really did anything newish per se. Like there was stuff out there that had done this, but it had just never gotten to the popularity that Shrek did and had at that point in time.
Yeah, and
And dear
one
God,
thing
I can't believe
I
you got me to give an actual concerted effort into a discussion on Shrek.
one last thing I want to point out in regards to the behind the scenes that as much as this movie was like a middle finger to Disney and everything, and you can definitely say it was born out of spite. You can tell that people cared. You can tell that when they made this movie, they said we're going to give it our all, and everyone was on board with this idea, and we want to make it the best way possible. And you can see it with the fact that Mike Myers, the voice of Shrek, he recorded the entire film in his regular voice. And then one day he just said, listen, can I re-record all of it with a Scottish accent? And apparently this cost the animators like an extra $4 million to reanimate what they already had. And but looking back at this, can you imagine Shrek without the Scottish accent?
So hold on, it was Mike Myers, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I forget when he's doing the Austin Powers movie. Is that his normal voice, or is he doing an accent there as well?
I
Is
think
he like
that's his
actually
regular.
British?
I
He
think
actually British.
so. Actually British, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll look it up. But like, wouldn't be Scottish. I mean, regular voices. You obviously, if we were talking to Twig, you'd say, "Oh yeah, regular voice, of course," whatnot, and then they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, right." But to us, it still would be like, kind of a, well, I guess technically to all of us, it is a foreign accent because it would be British if that's the case. Um, but didn't he also have inspiration for, because the original voice was supposed to be what's his name? Whoever Tommy Boy, the actor for Tommy Boy.
I know Bill Murray was considered at
No,
some
no, no.
point.
It wasn't like he actually recorded a few of the lines before he died.
I know the story you're talking about. I don't remember the actor's name.
It is Chris Farley. Yes, Chris Farley. So that would have been American accent, unless he did an accent with it that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, it could also just be that, this was 2001. I think this was around the time that Mike Myers was kind of starting to rule the world at some point. If you remember, he was.
That lasted all of about not at all.
No. You say this, but there was actually a time he had a lot of hits under his belt.
Yeah,
It was
and that lasted
basically-
all of about not very
Yeah,
long.
it was 10 years pretty much from like 92 to basically Shrek was the last big thing he did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what killed it for him?
Shrek.
You know what killed it for him? It was when he was on. Well, I mean, I know he did all of them, but like,
No,
sure,
Shrek
he's
killed it
voicing
for
it,
him.
but- No, I was gonna say
I'd
it was
say-
he was on when he was on the oh gosh, he was on like the fundraiser thing with Kanye West, and like and then Kanye said like Bill Gates hates, George Bush hates black people, and then like he's just standing there like, what do I do? He didn't know how to respond to that because I mean they were both on there like asking for money, but he says that, walks off, and then Mike Myers is just standing there like, oh, okay.
I think this was around the time people were kind of starting to get his shtick, but basically what I'm saying is that I think they were just banking on Mike Myers is a name people know. We can put this we can put it on a poster and people will be like, oh, I know Mike Myers, he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact he actually cared about this role so much to say, I want to re-record all of it with a Scottish accent, and it's like, again, this is something people remember about Shrek. Like they do whenever they do a Shrek impression, it's like they do the Scottish accent. Like there is a way that he says donkey that people. I'm sorry if I offended anyone by doing that, but. It's something that stuck with people. Not like if you say donkey regularly, you're immediately going to jump to how he says it. It left something, for better or worse.
That's again though. You have to clarify that's not inherently because of the film necessarily. That's just because
not
of the
necessarily. But again, when you see how much this movie is actually left for people, like how much people still quote it, still love it, still talk about it, it kind of all comes together to this. This movie was a landmark when it came out.
I mean, being fair to the film, right? The first film isn't bad by any means. Like, I think there are better films that came out at that time. I think there are most certainly better films now. But
you know what?
It's not a terrible film.
I'll be controversial. I think both Jimmy Neutron and Monsters Inc. deserve that Oscar more, but that's just me.
My god, I saw that. I saw Monsters Inc. probably, but Jimmy Neutron. I saw that movie. It was on TV like a month ago, and I saw it. And my god, like it just does not hold up.
No, not
Just
at all.
Jimmy Neutron animation in general.
Yeah, okay. The animation in the movie is really, that didn't age well at all. But the movie itself is fun. From what I remember, I need to revisit it. Also, most of my memories of Jimmy Neutron are the show now, not really the movie itself. But that's another story.
Yeah, fair enough. I remember some of the show episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do what we're actually supposed to do on the show and review the movies. God help us.
God, we have to do. We've been on doing this for about an hour now, and we still have so
Really?
Half.
Oh, sorry,
Half.
half hour.
Okay.
I've got the time exactly, so I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So half an hour, we basically just talked about how much of a landmark Shrek was. For the movie itself, I kind of said my 2 cents. Wolf started saying his. So do you have anything to add?
I mean, as far as the first film goes, no. Like, it is what it is. It works for what it is. It's funny, and it's very much, I think I would be. I'm not going to do it, but I really. It's been so long since I've seen Shrek, so it's a lot of stuff. A lot of it is from memory, but I really don't know if a lot of the jokes would hold up now.
Hmm.
I
We
think
actually, my wife and I have watched it pretty recently because when we first moved into our new house, we had just the DVD player and in a monitor pretty much before. Well, this was actually how it was. We got the house before we completely moved. We switched our internet. It was the same provider, so they're like, "Oh, just bring your equipment," but it's like you can't have two places on at the same time. So, like, we were moving stuff in, and then one night we just decided to stay here. Obviously, no internet, but we had again the monitor and the DVD player, and we watched Shrek that night.
Mhm.
got a
Might as
Christian in the
well.
new house somehow. I suppose. I suppose that's a good way to get rid of any lingering demons or spirits.
Hmm. In a new build, there are plenty of spirits and demons in a very newly built house.
It
Can't confirm.
could have been built on an Indian burial ground.
When All
Shrek would
Stars
definitely
started,
sanctify that.
when All Stars started playing, all
No,
the
he just cursed
demons
it
ran
more.
away.
Actually, I think the house is more haunted since we played that movie. But
Okay.
I mean, that also could potentially happen.
it's a coin flip, man. You never know.
It's
Yeah.
Shrek. It's 50-50. Either you curse yourself to damnation or you sanctify the general vicinity and area. It's one of the two.
Mhm.
You don't know which one you're going to get, but it's one of the two.
Let's hope for the better one, I suppose. But okay, so we spoke up. Rush, what are your
Right now, I
overall
definitely
thoughts
think
on
it's the
Shrek?
latter because I just have Shrek staring at me and it's just creepy as fuck the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know why I have the secret links. I'm changing that. Anyway,
I mean, I can
um,
change that on the Discord, sure, but I still have it on
I know you
OBS, and
have it
it's
on the max
just
OBS, yeah.
bigger
But
on OBS, and it's just fucking hell.
so what
Just,
I still like it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's the greatest movie ever.
yeah.
It's definitely every time I watch it, it's enjoyable. It's definitely quotable. There's definitely always things that you can remember from these movies, and I don't know. I don't have as much problems with it as HC. I don't. Obviously, HC being film in the film industry.
No, it's not just that. It's like
Well, I'm saying
it's
you're
not.
more likely to strip apart a movie than I am. I
I
mean, I
guess.
did some of that stuff in high school where I did like a film class, and at that time I was pretty critical of certain movies too. But it's like I I just want to enjoy movies, man. If there's something
Yeah, fair
like for
enough.
me, it's about the visuals and the music, and of course, Shrek being one of the very few first 3D animated movies, aside from Ants and A Bug's Life, Toy Story, I believe. It's obviously the visuals there. I mean, it still has some pretty good animation, like for the time.
Mhm.
The character animation is good. Obviously, the backgrounds are completely horrible, but
Mhm.
and then the music itself, obviously, is I think that was the thing at the time is like use the ever like don't have a movie soundtrack, just have do whatever you want with the
Mhm.
movies and like
Yeah,
yeah, so there's not much to say about those. So it's not really a mind thinking movie for me.
and hey, again, fair. So, is this all about Shrek One?
time to move
No.
on to the better film, Shrek 2.
Yeah. So, can we just agree that Shrek Two is the best one?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would
Okay.
agree. Shrek 2 is definitely like I think, that they hit on something with Shrek 1 and then they said and they took that and they said, "Hey, let's make this more than just, a movie about spitefully giving Disney the middle finger, and they did well. Like they took like what was just
So
simple spite
develop,
work, and they
yeah,
developed it into something, right? That was again still largely pop culture references and jokes, but I honestly think, and it's been a little bit more recent since I've seen the second one, but it's not been as long as the first one. The first one, I watched it a lot. I never want to watch it again because of my family. But the second one, I didn't watch as much. But I am going to go out on a limb, even though it's again been a bit, but not as long, and say that the second movie is a lot funnier, and I think would stand the test of time for
and
longer.
it's not just a lot funnier in terms of the emotional moments. It also works way better. Like I won't say I'm crying whenever I watch the second one, but I'm like, I'm invested. I'm actually invested in this romance. Shrek and Fiona are a legit good couple in the second one, and just the whole idea. This movie walks. I think the thing with the second one is that even though it's funny, Shrek 2 is hilarious, but I think they also put an emphasis on what could be emotionally sway you. How can we make them care about these characters? How can how can people actually look at them and say, I want them to have their happy ending? And of course, on the way, there are a lot of funny gags and funny jokes and references and stuff, but I think the core of this is actually the how do I say it? Like there's an emotional story underneath all the jokes, if you get what I mean,
Hmm.
what I'm getting at.
And I also want to say that it continues the theme of the first one
Yeah,
without overdoing it or underdoing it. It kind of merges it into its own theme because obviously first theme is like body positivity, right? And you're fine just the way you are. And the second one kind of keeps that, but it's like how do you deal with other people? Obviously, you only had Farquaad um, as like
yeah,
the main baddie, and kind of like maybe the townspeople in the beginning, and kind of just the smaller throughout. But then it's like the second movie puts it more in the forefront of how everybody else reacts. It's like, oh, like the parents react, right? That's obviously they took the joke. It's like, hey, I'm pretty sure this is how it is. It's like, well, Shrek was a hit. Shit, now we have to make another movie, right? And they said, sure. What what can we do? And I'm pretty sure a guy at the boardroom is like, hey guys, sorry, I gotta go meet the in-laws. Can we do this meeting later? And another guy's like, wait, that's it, meeting the in-laws.
Actually, fun fact. We're not talking about this movie yet, but apparently, what Shrek the Third ended up being was the original plot for the second one, but the directors scrapped it because they felt like they couldn't really get an emotional story out of it. And
And boy, howdy, they didn't.
yeah, we'll talk more about that when we get to the third movie. But for Shrek 2 itself, I think one of my let's also talk about when it comes to sequels, they usually introduce new characters, which some people like, some people don't. But I think the new characters introduced in this movie work really well with this universe and the idea of Shrek, like making Puss in Boots a hitman for ogres. If you know the original Puss in Boots tale, that's freaking brilliant.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
like making the fairy godmother the bad guy again. It's
Oh
such
boy,
a small
another
thing.
one character that got made into meme for the wrong reasons there.
Um,
What are we talking about?
Oh, we know what we're talking about. Look, HCU and I went fish legs meat lug route. There's no more boundaries that are on this channel.
there haven't been for a long time. I mean, yeah. I mean, again, like, there's a reason, right, that the second Shrek film made, almost $1 billion worldwide as well, where the first one only made like 500 million, right? Like,
Mhm.
again, like the second one was again, it was them taking like, okay, we have something here. How can we make this more, right? And they took the kind of backwards fantasy world they made, right, where it was basically just, hey, let's just make fun of all these things that Disney have done and just kind of make it a little bit realistic, but also very much its own fantasy in the opposite direction. And then they
Mhm.
took that and said, okay, let's just make that into its own world and create something from there. And they did when they did that with Shrek 2, and it came out to be really good. And I think it stands a lot taller and a lot better than the first one
Because
does.
I think also that, like I said, I wasn't too keen on seeing the first one when it was out. But having seen the first one afterwards and liking it fine, I wanted to go see the sequel, and we did. I remember it came out here like the first day of summer vacation, and me and my mother went to see it, and like I was like, you know what? I'd call myself a full-out fan of Shrek after this. This movie elevated me into a fan, which is impressive considering I was like a bit. The first one is okay, and so turn me into okay too. This is awesome. That's an accomplishment.
And then they
Uh,
came out with the third one.
okay, let's not talk about that one yet. There's still stuff to talk about with the second one. Jeez. I guess since we all kind of agree it's one of the better movies, um, would you say you have a favorite joke?
You're asking a question that I can barely. You know what? I
I
actually kind of, at least from Shrek 2, I kind of really like the.
Yeah, I said I'm into.
I mean,
yeah.
again, like you're asking me something that's still old, so I may not remember everything, but I think everything with them trying to siege the castle with giant gingerbread dude.
Gingerbread Man. Yeah.
Mungo, I think
Yeah,
his name is.
Mungo.
that whole scene is fantastic.
Mine is the Bad Boys parody.
Oh god. That yeah, that was
That was
Yeah,
good.
they
I
grind
think
sugar
I
into
think
some
one of my
genius.
favorites because it got a lot of people laughing in the theater was the when the other characters are trying to break Shrek, Donkey, and Puss out of jail,
Oh
and
God.
there's a
The
point
Mission
where
Impossible joke.
there's a point where Donkey says, "You need to tell me I have the right to remain silent," and Shrek is like, "You have the right to remain silent. What you lack is the ability." And then Puss is like, "I think I'm going to lose my mind myself." He sees the talking mice and it's like, "Too late. I lost my mind."
No, again, yeah, that was also very good. Again, like it has those pop culture references, but they aren't really the focus like they were in the first film. So a lot of those jokes stand and hold up a lot more to time. So yeah, again, like there's a lot more to laugh at in the second film. Moving on.
Yeah, so actually, should I tell this? I did tell it on mic before. Hmm.
Sure, why not?
Okay, so I'll make this quick. But basically, like for to those of you who might not recognize it with my wonderful accent, I am not from the U.S. So the thing is, when the movies come here, they dub them. And when they dub them, sometimes they need to take into account that parents are coming to see the movies dubbed with their kids, and so they would throw like some jokes that the parents would get. So for Shrek 2, whenever Puss in Boots shows up and Donkey says, I think we should neuter him," there's actually a reference to an Israeli singer who has a really high pitched voice. So when he says, "I think we should neuter the cat," he says, the singer's name is David Dale. So Donkey actually goes, "I think we should pull a David Dale on him down there." Because he sings so high, it's like his balls were cut off. So he literally references the singer while making that
Yes,
joke.
going 8th century medieval Europe on him.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, I remember my mother actually laughing her ass off on that joke, but David Earl himself wasn't happy with that reference, to the point he sued the dubbing company, and the court almost banned Shrek 2 in this country. Eventually they just redubbed the line. Like, if you listen to the Hebrew voice now, the line has been redubbed, but back then I was just it was such a weird story to read in the newspaper that some singer you barely know was like, I'm going to end this movie's career because they made fun of me. So yeah, that's my funny Shrek 2 story. Moving on.
Okay.
Say what you want. It's funnier than the next movie that we're going to talk about. So, Shrek 3, people.
I don't hate this film.
I guess I should clarify, I don't hate it, but it's easily the weakest one.
I disagree. I think the fourth one,
yes.
Shrek Forever After, is the weakest film.
Because
This is a
you're
bad time
wrong.
to say I haven't seen the fourth one.
You're
You
not
bunch
missing
of
much.
sheep.
You're not missing much at all.
You are missing the second best one.
Second best one. What the?
Highly
Jeez,
debatable.
We are
Okay.
really,
We'll get
really
we'll get to fall
in
later.
disagreement here.
We'll
Who
get
knew
to
the
fall
Ogrecast
later.
would be so controversial?
We'll get to the fall later, but for
All right,
now
the
on,
third one. I do remember this one. I haven't seen it. That's one of the ones I haven't seen recently. We did watch the first and second one within
Third
like
one
the
is
first 3 months of the movie.
them going off to find
Oh, yeah,
someone else.
I know what it is.
Oh, okay. Well then,
It's just I don't remember like how much I like it. They find they have Merlin and Arthur, etc.
yeah.
Didn't Justin Timberlake voice Arthur?
yep, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do remember. I do remember this film then.
So yeah, what are your overall thoughts about Shrek 3? I honestly think it's like kind of this middle chapter of a book that makes the whole experience drag.
I think it is better than the first, not as good as the second. I think if it had come out, as the second film, and then the second film came out, you probably would have like the third film. It wouldn't be seen as bad as it is. I think because the second film came out and was just so good that it really made the third film look like really bad. So I don't hate the third film. I don't think it's terrible. I think a lot of its jokes don't land as well. I think its story doesn't land as well as the second one does, but it's not bad. I think, Shrek Forever After is a lot worse in that regard, in my personal opinion.
Well, I don't think Shrek 3 is like the worst movie ever, like a lot of people would probably say it is. And it doesn't destroy the franchise or something, but at the same time, this is the one that I'm the most like, eh. Like, when I watch it, I'm not laughing. When I'm watching it, I'm not feeling anything. When I'm watching it, I feel like I'm seeing nothing on screen. And when I look at the entire franchise in general, this is the one where the least stuff happened.
Explains how I feel about the fourth one perfectly.
Well, I'm going to really counter you on the fourth one, but we'll get to this later. Anyway, what was I going to say? Like, when you really get down to it, what changed at the end of this movie? Like, what did we really learn about the world? Like, in the second movie, we met Fiona's parents. We see where she's from. We see that there was actually another deal to get her out of the castle. We saw the relationship of Shrek and Fiona actually develop, and that she doesn't mind being an ogre for him, but he would still go to lengths for her. Yeah, and we found a lot of things about Fiona's parents, like her father being cursed and stuff. We get all of this. What do we get from the third one? Shrek doesn't want to be a father. Okay.
No. That's the fourth one. The third one, there are no kids. Shrek just doesn't want to be a king. He doesn't want to rule over far, far away. I
Yeah,
knew
but
it.
at the same
You've
time,
confused the
at the
fourth
same
one and the
time,
third one.
he has
Remember,
an
Boom.
entire
there's
You
scene
the
where he
hate the
has
joke.
a
fourth one.
nightmare.
Boom.
There's
I
the
knew it.
joke where he doesn't get to hear Fiona say she's pregnant because of the foghorn.
By the way, that joke got old really, really quickly.
But yeah, like the third one, the focus is like Shrek wants to go back to his old life of living in the swamp. He doesn't want to be king. Like, don't get me wrong. The motivation for the third film, the motivation that kind of sparks this whole adventure, is kind of shite. Like, I won't disagree there. The motivation is pretty terrible, but I think the supporting cast kind of carries everything through in that regard, and some of the jokes land a bit more with their supporting cast, because I remember liking a lot of the supporting cast more than I did Shrek in this one. But to be honest, I've always kind of liked the supporting cast more than Shrek. Shrek is kind of, he's the middleman. He's the straight guy where all of this zaniness plays off of. Like, he's the one that's generally not always the funniest. It's everyone else around him that is funnier. And that's kind of supposed to be the point. And in that regard, I think the third film succeeds at that once more. Not as well as the second one, obviously, nowhere near as well, but I do think it does well enough to, I didn't hate my time with it. I'm not going to go back to it, but I didn't hate my time with it.
Again, you say that I think about Shrek 4 when I say Shrek doesn't want to be a dad. He doesn't want to be king in the third one too, yes, but you say that, and there's this whole scene, a nightmare scene, where he's afraid of being a dad.
But again,
so
they take that nightmare scene and make a whole movie out of it. That's why the fourth one is bad.
I'm not done. Because then there's the entire conflict of Shrek trying to be like a father figure to Arthur. And then near the end, there's this whole Shrek reveals the truth to Arthur that he only brought him to far, far away because he didn't want to be king and he wanted Arthur to be the king for him. And Prince Charming goes, "Oh, you have such a way with children." It's like, they're trying to get you to care about Shrek being a dad. They are trying to put this into your skull. So you don't tell me that the movie is not about it. The movie makes it clear that it's trying to make you care about this topic. And I'll be honest with you, I don't. I really don't.
How do you like the fourth one?
I'll explain to you when we get to the fourth one.
We'll get there when we get there.
Exactly.
Exactly. Being the chaotic evil person I am, how many people do you think shipped Arthur and Shrek? I'm out. See you later.
That's his input.
Oh yeah. I'm just trying to, like I said, man.
Why must you make me cry, right?
Yes, your tears fuel me.
Yeah. Why did we bring him back again?
Hold on, somebody's knocking at the door. HC, no! I'm so sorry!
Oh boy.
That was a quick flight. I hope the coronavirus won't catch me. But anyway.
How'd you get here so fast, HC? God, that hurt.
That's the power of being a Sonic fan, my friend. But that's another story.
God, you gave him an in. He made it. You gave him the chance, and he took it. He
Man,
didn't
I
have
haven't
to.
been on here so long. I'm sorry. I forgot. All right. Here, I can move him again.
No. You moved yourself too.
He moved me. How dare you?
House rule of pranking someone. You don't tell them the prank.
Okay.
Anyways, the third film.
I didn't tell him. Okay.
I'll telegraph your pranks, Rush.
The third film.
Anyway, the third film. Yes.
And
my non-chaotic input.
Funny. It's kind of funny. It's kind of sad, actually, that our tongue exchange at this point was actually funnier than the entirety of Shrek the Third.
Yes.
Debatable.
True. Because I thought the third film was absolutely hilarious. Not really. I'm just kidding. No, so like I said at the beginning, I can't remember much of the movie, but what I do remember is just the generic plot. I don't remember any of the jokes. They were forgettable. I don't remember. I mean, I remember one part of the conflict where I think it's isn't it Prince Charming comes back and like tells Arthur he's not like he doesn't believe in him or Shrek doesn't believe in
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of overdone. I mean, it probably was like, hey, we need to extend this movie another like 30 minutes. How do we do that, right? But
Again, right? I won't lie, right? The third film, I would say, does, if I'm remembering it correctly, feels like it drags on a bit more and it gets kind of, can we move on here, and get to what this film actually needs to be about and wants to do, right? Like, this feels like it's dragging. Again, I won't lie, the third film isn't perfect. I don't think it's perfect. I just think it's better than the fourth one.
So should we just get to the fourth one and make me see and show Wolf that he's wrong?
I mean, that'll never happen, but sure, we can move on to the fourth one if everyone's done.
Okay. So anything else you want to add about Shrek the Third, or should we move on?
It's the third best Trek film.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth one is the fifth worst, sixth worst, actually.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Shrek Forever After, also known as Shrek the Final Chapter, until DreamWorks actually puts out
Also
the
known
fifth
as
one.
Shrek the fourth now, because there's a fifth film.
Even without it, it's Forever After, I think. But anyway,
just like it's How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Anyway, bold claim: Shrek Forever After is better than the first one. Shrek Forever After is a good ending to this trilogy, because Shrek the Third is shit. And the thing is, you know why it's so good? Because
you haven't told us yet.
Because I care. Because I care about these characters. Because I care about Shrek finding his way home. Because I care about what's going on. And also, this movie basically does the first one backwards in a way that's interesting. Because now this is a universe where Shrek didn't save Fiona. You know what the hell that did to her? She is freaking traumatized. She is depressed. And she put all that depression into starting a rebel against the guy who basically killed her parents. That is some heavy freaking shit. And you know what? That I am interested in this because it's kind of a realistic reaction to what's going on. And then on the other end, we see Shrek that believes in that true love would save everything, which of course ends up being the case. I'm not saying this movie is not predictable, but at the same time, he needs to work for it. It's not just an easy solution, and I like that. I like that role reversal. That this time Fiona is the one that needs to be convinced, and Shrek is the one trying to convince her. Moreover, this is the one movie I actually legit felt fear for Shrek's life. I actually thought they were going to kill him off when they said this is gonna be the final one.
Totally could have, DreamWorks. You totally could have, but you just couldn't bring yourself to do it.
Well, it's still a kids' movie.
Have you seen kids' films? They can kill people.
Yeah,
they have killed people.
Character. Not the main character.
Killed mostly parents. They're the target of a lot of murder.
Wonder why.
I can't imagine.
Maybe, looking at this film, it's because parents literally wish their kids to be non-existent because they hate them so much. Maybe that's why kids hate you, parents. Maybe that's why we hate you.
Maybe that's why the fourth movie sucks.
That's literally the fourth movie, right? Like, Shrek literally is tired of his children, is tired of everything being changed and not what he wants, because all of it's changed and none of it's what he wants it to be. And
you know what, AT? You were talking about the first movie being stripped down, just a copy of other movies. This movie's It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, one, I didn't say Shrek 1 is a copy of other movies. I just said...
You did. I'll go back find the timestamp and just DM it to you 5 times.
Okay, fine. Before you do that, though, let's finish this recording and let me tell you what I said about the first movie is that I don't see it as revolutionary as people made it out to be. I said it at its impact. I said it did cause some other things, and
You
did
did
change a few
say
things.
sorry, to be serious on what you said earlier in a quote, you said stripped down, it is oh gosh, I forgot. You said it's not a copy, but you said it's like
It has
similar to
nothing.
other
Like
movies at the
there's
time.
nothing there. Like if you strip out all these different things from it, there's just nothing
Yeah,
there.
different
Which
from it's
Yeah.
not different from any other movie
your
at the
response
time.
was, well, yeah,
Yeah,
because if you strip all those things out of it, it's going to be because it's those things that make it what it
Yeah, and that was
is.
my response. It's like, yeah,
Oh,
that's what it is.
okay,
But this movie
fair.
has the same
One.
plot of It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, fair enough. But here's the thing: people don't talk about Shrek Forever After like it was some groundbreaking masterpiece that changed the whole world. People talk like that about Shrek One.
I mean, again,
Joking
though,
or not.
most of it is joking, but some of it, again, when people say that, I don't think, again, they don't mean like it changed everything. Nothing would be the same without Shrek, but it did open doors. It did kind of, change the game around somewhat. It did put an entire company way more on the map than it ever had been before. And, at that point now, you have people talk about, when they talk about animation, they no longer talk about, oh, Disney. They talk about like, hey, you have like the big three, right? Like DreamWorks, Disney, and I think the other one's supposed to be Sony at this point. I don't remember.
I guess Pixar, but it's kind of under Disney.
Yeah, I guess, yeah,
So.
Pixar now, but it was Pixar back in the day, but now it's, under Disney, so now it's just the big two, I guess. Who knows? Either way, right, like you had
The
people,
Big Pooh?
the big two.
Oh.
Rush's input, ladies and gentlemen. But again, right, I don't hate the fourth film. I don't think it's as good as you're purporting it to be. And I don't think it's as good as you're purporting it to be because I think, it doesn't bring anything new to the table. I think, sure, what it does do with its story when it gets into it finally is, well done, and it does do it in an interesting way, sure. But it's everything that leads up to that time, and it takes you forever to get to that point. And once you get to that point, it goes through it very quickly, and it doesn't spend a lot of time with it. It's like if the fourth film would have been basically sans Shrek just being an awful dad and just hating his life and his family, I might have enjoyed it more.
You are taking this in the wrong direction. He doesn't hate his family. He's having a midlife crisis. And
Yeah,
when
I get that, but the way they portray it doesn't show it that way, I feel. Like, it doesn't show it that way well at all, in my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. And I'll give you that. Not anyone is going to agree with this. That is a fair point. But at the same time, it didn't bother me much, and I think the meanness also kind of helps in this case because when he knows, he kind of knows he's mean after the blowout he has with Fiona, which he does say some things that are really hurtful to her. He does kind of justify himself by saying, "I'm an ogre. I'm not gonna apologize for acting like one." But when he realizes that when he gets to the other reality and he realizes that he has nothing, that is the point where he realizes, I fucked up. The last thing I said to my wife is that I regret saving her. So in my opinion, that works when it comes to that point and you actually get to the emotional stuff, because this gets Shrek to cry. When in the hell does Shrek cry?
The second film, I think.
Does he?
I think. Don't quote me. I don't know. It's been a
I
while.
don't remember.
I'm just trying to
be
be contrarian.
Actually, no, in the second movie, there was actually a scene
You're an
where
Aki.
they're trying to
You're
get
an
the
Aki.
fairy godmother's card to walk, where he tries to get Donkey to cry because
It's
he
Donkey
doesn't
that
want
cries.
it.
So that's why I said it's
Yeah.
Donkey cry. Well, no,
Yeah.
because like they're just trying to get Donkey. Like they don't even. It's not that he says he doesn't want it. It's like he doesn't even try to at that point.
Yeah. So So, that mistake that, legitimately, I get why you won't like, but that mistake causes Shrek to cry when he realizes how much he fucked up. So, in a sense, I think it works when you put it in the overall story and how it moves things along.
I don't know. Like I said, I would have to watch it again, and that's never gonna happen. No, it might happen. I don't know, but I don't hate the fourth film. I don't hate it at all. I think it is okay. I just think, honestly, I'll be completely honest. I think they should have stopped at the second one. If you ask me, I think the second one was a great ending point, and they should have stopped there. I don't think either the third or fourth film are all that great. I do personally, I did enjoy the third film though more than the fourth one. I just could not get into the fourth one personally. It just did not appeal to me at all.
Well, to not make this podcast overly long, I guess if you want my full thoughts about Shrek Forever After, the best thing I can recommend you, Wolf, if you want to put this in the description, might as well go watch Schaffrillas' video, Why Shrek 4 is an Underrated Gem. He
Give me
sums
a
the whole
link.
movie. Yeah. I'll link it to you after we're done. Put this in the description. He sums up my thoughts about this movie perfectly.
We'll make this person popular.
He is popular. He's
We'll
very
make them
much
more popular because the Berkcast and Outcast is that popular.
Mhm. Well, so this is kind of our thing with Shrek Forever After. Quick thoughts about Puss in Boots?
I thought it was okay, right? Yeah, I think I enjoy the idea of films and franchises saying, "Hey, instead of this story again, like I think I think Puss in Boots is what they should have done after Shrek 2, personally. I say instead of trying to continue on with a story that in characters that should obviously be done, like why are you making Shrek 5, DreamWorks? Why? Let
Because
Shrek
you
die.
know
Let him
something.
rest.
You know something. They actually do really need the money right now, so I'll give them credit.
Yeah, but I mean, if you need the money, just make Puss in Boots 2 or something. It did well, right?
They are.
Hey,
They are.
Oh god, they're doing that too.
It's just in development.
you tell them to make it, and then when they are making it, like, oh,
You
God.
see, this is the person who told you Shrek 4 is the worst. This is the person.
No,
He's
I
very
mean,
undecisive.
look,
I
but
never
hold
claimed
on,
to not
just-
be a hypocrite. Just let's be clear here. I mean, again, right? Like, I enjoy the idea though of taking like, hey, here's side characters. Let's take this and expand on it and make it into its own more realized thing, right? I enjoy that idea. I think that can be really well done and interesting if done well and if taken and given the work and kind of time and effort that it actually needs. And in that regard, I think Puss in Boots is, okay. I don't think it's the best Shrek, based film you can find, but I think it works and does well.
Quick funny story about this one, like when it comes to dubbing and translating. Around the time this movie came out, there was another animated Puss in Boots movie which came out at least here. And the marketers obviously didn't want people to be confused that there are two animated movies with Puss in Boots, and like which one is the Shrek one. So one was called Puss in Boots: The True Story. Guess how this one was called? Each one of you gets one guess as to how they called it.
Puss in Boots, the fake story.
No.
the real pussy.
No.
That's good.
I would say Rush is on par with the ridiculous level, because the way Puss in Boots is called in Israel, because they want to differentiate it with the other one, is Shrek's cat.
Mine was better than that, and it was still bad.
I think what I posted in Secret Links was pretty good.
I guess. So yeah, but Puss in Boots was fine. I enjoyed it. The third act is very.
Is that an abbreviation for
Shock-jumping.
something, Rush?
Do you want? I'm not gonna say that. You know what it is.
I know.
I
wanted to
think
see
I
if you would
know.
say it.
I ain't gonna
I-
say that on.
We'll give the audience.
Wait, that means I won't be allowed back on here. I'll say it then.
Oh, go for it. I will still invite you back on. No. The abbreviation is WAP. Figure it out for yourselves.
If you need to ask, you needn't be told. But if you know, you know. Anyway.
Okay. Actually, have any of you seen the short Shrek movies, like Shrek the Halls and Scale Shrekless?
No.
So kind of a funny thing about this one. Like last year in December, in 2019, I should mention, we are in 2021. I visited a friend of mine in the UK, and we went we went into this second-hand store, and one of our friends had just saw a DVD of Shrek the Halls there for like £50, and she likes Shrek, so she bought it. And for some reason, we decided to watch it one night while we were there. And it's nothing special. It's like a gift of the night fury. This ain't. I think that's the best review I can give it. But we watched it, and for some reason, we were too lazy to actually get up from the couches and go to the TV and pop the disc out because that DVD didn't have a remote for whatever reason. So we just stayed on the menu, and then the short played again, and then it got back to the menu and it played again, and without even realizing, as we were talking, this short played like 3 more times after we watched it initially because we were too lazy to get up and turn off the TV. So I'll give Shrek the Halls this. It gave me a funny memory from a trip I made, a year ago. And it's kind of sad that this is the only good thing I can muster up when it comes to this short.
It sounds like it's good for background noise. So there's your box quote. Like
Shrek the Halls. It's a good background noise.
10 years after the fact, but you can add it to the box now, DreamWorks. We'll let you have that one. We're a giving group here at the Berkcast and Outcast, and apparently now the Ogrecast.
Yeah, exactly. So since we mentioned that, any hopes for Shrek 5? Like, is there something in particular you want to see?
That.
Okay.
I mean, I wish.
Have no hopes. No dreams. There's nothing left in my head.
Shrek killed them all a long time ago. No, I mean,
Shrek 5, the fever dream.
I hope it gives DreamWorks the money it needs, I guess. I hope it works for them.
I hope it's worth it.
I mean, again, right? If Shrek 5 comes out and it's apparently amazing, hey, I'm not going to be disappointed, I suppose. I'll enjoy it, I suppose. It's going to be weird watching a Shrek film after all of the meme culture with it now, I feel like
this is something that
I feel like it's tainted in a way.
Yeah,
I feel like making
mean.
a Shrek film now just feels off because of all of the meme culture surrounding Shrek now. I feel like making a Shrek film now just is weird, and I'm curious of the experiment now because is it going to succeed? Is it going to do well, or is it going to fail because of the memes?
Exactly, because like you said, that the first one kind of gave the DreamWorks is making the funny stuff, and people looking at Shrek for a comedy. So I wonder if this is actually exaggerated now that the franchise is kind of a meme gold mine.
God.
There are so many memes. People are going to come into this and thinking, "Oh, Shrek, there are memes. It's funny," and maybe DreamWorks is trying to give you best version of a Shakespearean modern classic. I don't know.
Oh God! You just
can it be a Shakespearean classic where the main character dies in the end?
Oh God!
Yes. Although I think if Shrek dies at the end of this, there would be no more.
All right, place your bets, everyone. Will Shrek A, dab, B, floss, or C? Make a
You
meme
know,
face.
No,
I think B.
No.
Something tells me it's gonna be B.
no. I've got you. I've got you beat. I've got you beat. HC just gave me the idea. You know, again, DreamWorks is trying to be the funny guy again.
Oh no! Don't go there. Don't go there.
Let's
Don't
see if
go
you-
there.
let's
Don't
see if
go
you've-
there. Don't
let's
go
see-
there. Don't. No.
Let's
no,
find
no,
Yes,
out
yes,
if
yes.
you've
no.
if we're on the same page here.
I
So
mean,
DreamWorks is trying to
go.
be the funny guy again, right? And Illumination is currently the funny guy. What put Illumination on the map, Rush?
Minions?
Shrek Minions.
Hmm.
Minion version of Shrek. Or Shrek version of Minions. You're welcome.
Yeah, I never said thank you.
I will say, in a stark moment of seriousness and clarity, that DreamWorks doesn't have, like, they've never done that, and I don't think they would, because Disney and Pixar and Illumination are pretty, like, good about getting either the mass annoying characters or the single annoying characters that are bloody.
Honestly, when
Freaking
I said
kids.
when we said B, I thought Wolf's idea was to make a crossover with the B movie, because that's also DreamWorks, and for some reason I'm
Could also do that. That's even
Fiona,
even
you
better.
like that?
Oh God. There's your the B movie, but it's Shrek.
I've never seen that movie, so
Every time they say the word Shrek, it gets faster.
no. Actually,
I mean,
you know what?
if you want to see the movie,
might
you can
end-
literally see the movie in like 5 seconds. I think they've gotten it down to now. I think it's literally, you know what, like 5 minutes, like 5 minutes or so. You can watch the movie if you watch, like, it's the B movie, but it gets faster. Just watch the meme. You'll literally see the movie in about like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah,
give or
would
take.
I understand what's going on?
You
Would
don't
I-
need
would-
to. It's the B movie.
Would I understand the court case, Wolf?
You
It's
don't
very
need to.
important.
It's the B movie. Do you want to understand it?
I
Is the
mean,
better
if
question.
I'm watching a movie, I might as well give it the benefit of the doubt.
It's the B movie. It's in the name. You don't go into this wanting to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's the B movie. It's the B movie of B movies.
Well, I guess you made your point. But anything else about Shrek, or should we close this Ogrecast?
I mean, you know, I hope Shrek 5 works out for DreamWorks, right? I'm curious if it will. I don't think it will, to be honest, but if Shrek 5 gets us another, like, amazing franchise after the fact that's, you know, a lot more serious, a lot somewhat darker, you know, and more again, just more serious and more like, hey, this is aimed for kids, but it takes kids seriously. If Shrek 5, if DreamWorks has, if we have to get a Shrek 5 in order to get another How to Train Your Dragon, sure, I'll take it. Maybe Shrek 5 will impress me or amaze me, right? Maybe it'll surprise me.
Like maybe a How to Train Your Dragon in name only, because
Yeah, like in
I'm
name
good
only,
with
like, you know,
that
another,
one.
like, you know, we get another How to Train Your Dragon, like a film that, you know, again, like I would argue, right, that How to Train Your Dragon kind of also set the stage for what came after, right? Like it kind of changed the game a little bit, and you saw people take from that. And DreamWorks kind of does have these moments of, hey, you know, let's come out with a film that kind of sets the stage, and then we'll just kind of copy everyone else for a while, or we'll kind of pull from everyone else for a bit. Hey, let's set another film that kind of sets the stage that everyone else pulls from, and then DreamWorks starts pulling from them again, and they don't, and then, you know, and they kind of have that rut a little bit, and then they set the stage once more. That's kind of been DreamWorks' kind of MO, I guess you could say. So again, I'm curious to see if, I mean, I'm not curious about Shrek 5, but if Shrek 5 gets us another movie that kind of sets the stage for animation again, sure. You know, I'll take Shrek 5. Maybe it'll impress me, maybe it'll surprise me. It probably won't, but hey, if it does,
you know, but
great.
considering it's
We'll cover it here on the Ogrecast.
You know, you say that, but at the same time, it's been years since it was announced, and it's still being worked on. Like, I'm wondering when it's even going to be coming out. Like,
It'll probably be sometime this year.
It's coming out this year, and there's no trailer or an announcement or something. No way. No, not gonna be this
I
year.
hope it does. I hope it does.
Yeah, if they suddenly they just dropped a new Shrek 5 now streaming on Netflix or something like that.
I clap to them. Clap to them if they do it. Go for it, DreamWorks. It'll probably be terrible and it'll probably fail you, and that's how your company will die, but damn it if you didn't go out in the most amazing
We'll
way.
go out with the
with a something.
I guess, hey, now you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. There we go.
You didn't
Got
have
Hey,
to.
now
another
you're a
one
rock
in there.
star.
Woo!
Get the show on. Get paid.
You didn't
We
have
hope.
to
No,
bring. You
No,
didn't.
no. There are two. There's your an all-star, get your game on, go play, and then there's your rock star, get the show on, get paid. There are two.
Sorry, I know that's what I said. I think I said. I may have not said rock star, but to get the show on, get paid. That's what I said. HC.
Yeah, but
Listen.
it's not for the all-star, it's for the rock star.
I know that's what I said. I accidentally messed that part up.
Yeah, so I corrected you. Yeah, well,
This joke died 5 minutes. Anyways, let's end the show.
It should have died like Shrek.
I guess so. But anyone, that's all for this Outcast, Ogrecast, whatever you want to call it. What are your thoughts about the Shrek movies? You can tell us all about that in the comment section below, on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C, and
yeah,
just-
we know about the Shrek games. Do you care if we mention them? Yes, we know about the Puss in Boots show. Do you care if we mention it? Probably not. So we didn't mention them. There's your
all-
Yeah,
mention.
if you know about them, then you know why we didn't
You
mention
want
them.
actually one thing before we close. Maybe we'll even put this like you want to know. You want someone to talk about the Shrek games? Go watch Kadikaras's video about the DreamWorks games. He talks about most of them there, and it's hilarious. He will do way better job than we ever could because he actually played those. Kadikaras is awesome. I guess with all that said, that was it for the Ogrecast. Take care. We'll see you all next time.
Yep. I was Wolf.
I was Rush.
It's just completely messed up our outro.
Yeah, because you put me
Right,
with a
that's
bunch of
back to
other
us.
things. Anyway, I was HC. See you all next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.